The second half of 2022 is going to look very different for those in the market to buy or sell a home. The days of homes flying off the shelf, sold in 48 hours, way over asking price, are over. The days of borrowing nearly free money are over. We are back to a much more normal back and forth between buyers and sellers. The question is, how should buyers and sellers in the market now respond? Hey everybody, I'm Ryan Haarer, Denver area realtor, helping buyers and sellers up and down the Front Range make sense of this market and achieve their real estate goals. If you get anything out of this video today, please do me a huge favor and like and subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, comment below so that I know what you want to hear more of. We are just going to be scratching the surface here on a lot of topics today. So if there's anything I missed that you want more of besides in the comments, reach out. My contact information is below. You can text or email me anytime. All right, let's jump into the 3 things I am keeping an eye on in the coming months in the back half of 2022, including interest rates, which will continue to rise, inventory, which is also rising, and what you all came here for, what's up with those price drops. The first thing we will definitely be keeping an eye on are these interest rates. Mortgage interest rates will likely continue to rise throughout the year. The days of 2.5% interest rates are gone, and frankly, I don't know if we will ever see them again. Historic lows created by the pandemic and a lot of economic issues surrounding how we were going to remain on our feet through COVID, but those days are gone, and so we are currently between 5 and 6% interest rates here in the summer of 2022. Back to where we were back in 2018. We're actually slightly above that point now. So simply a much more normalized environment. For buyers, that will have an increased impact on how much home you can afford. Yes, it will increase the amount your monthly mortgage payment will be, but there are some workarounds to reduce your interest rate for at least 2 or 3 years. Look into sellers buying down your loan. We are going to see a lot of this in the second half of 2022. I'm gonna give you the short version of this. Basically, sellers have the ability to take a portion of the proceeds that you pay them for the home and apply it to your mortgage to buy down your interest rate. So it's a set amount. You can ask your lender about it, and that will help reduce the interest rate and therefore your monthly payment for 2 to 3 years. It's called a 2-1 buy down or a 3-2-1 buy down. You can look it up or reach out to me. As I said, I'm giving you the short version of this, and I'd be happy to send you more information on that. Now, of course, you need to make sure that you're going to be comfortable with that payment amount when the loan buy down ends in 2 or 3 years, no matter what. So, take that into consideration. But to have a lower rate and a lower payment for 2 to 3 years will certainly help you get adjusted to your new mortgage and of course, save some money in the short term. Also consider you can refinance if and when rates drop down. I wouldn't wait for 2.5% interest rates, but if rates get back down into the low 4s, the 3s, maybe that might be a decent time to refinance and bring down your monthly mortgage payment for good. There are also actually a couple of major advantages for buyers out in the market right now, despite that interest rate being a little bit higher, especially when you compare yourself as a buyer to the buyer of 2-3 months ago, or really the last 2 years. And we're going to get into those in just a minute. Let's talk about interest rates as it relates to sellers. It is still a great time to sell your home, especially if you have lived in the home for at least 2-3 years, because over the last couple of years, you have gained record equity most likely and will do very well at the closing table. But the higher interest rates has reduced buyer demand a bit. So you're going to have to adjust your expectations, sellers. Be very careful about overpricing your home in this market and be patient. Homes are no longer sitting on the market for 48 hours and then they're gone. We're actually seeing homes in the Denver metro area sit on the market for 2+ weeks at this point, which is something that was actually pretty normal pre-pandemic. So get used to that being the normal. Again, we're going to talk about specifically what price drops mean in a minute, how you ended up in a price drop, when it might be the right time to do a price drop. But before we get there, I want to hear about what you watching right now are seeing in your neighborhoods. What's the neighbor's home sold for, and how much are they dropping price? Why do you think they're dropping the price? And let me know what neighborhood you're in. I would love to hear more about what you're seeing out there. The number two thing that I am keeping a close eye on in the back half of 2022 is home inventory. The number of homes on the market or supply will continue to increase with reduced buyer demand, less buyers in the market. We are finally above 1 month supply of inventory. We're actually at about 1.3 months supply of inventory as I'm recording this in June of 2022. And basically what that means, if no new homes came on the market, the current supply would run out in just over a month. Now keep in mind, we really need to be at about 4 or 5 months supply of inventory to have a completely balanced market between buyers and sellers. So at 1.3 months supply of inventory, sellers are still firmly in control of this housing market. However, sellers, because of the change in the last couple of months, this is really the time to double down and make sure that your home is in great shape when you list it. You've hired a great realtor to do marketing, photography, videography, and blasted your listing out to the world, because there are less buyers in the market and therefore less eyes on your home. You want to generate as much interest as possible to drive as many people through the door as possible to generate at least an offer and hopefully a couple, so that you are still in control of the process as you've been in the last couple of years. But let's again be realistic and know that you may only get one really good offer. And when that one really good offer comes in, you may have to be prepared to make some concessions, make some repairs, or come up with some money at the closing table for the buyer to make those repairs, something that wasn't seen a whole lot through the last 2 years or so. Be prepared to make some of those concessions now. But again, you're sitting on record equity. You're doing just fine. Buyers, here is probably the biggest takeaway for you in this video. You have a massive advantage compared to just a couple of months ago, because you are about to enter far fewer bidding wars. Think about what buyers over the last couple of years have been through. They were giving up inspections, waiving inspections to get into a home, saying they'll just make the repairs when they move in. You had people making up appraisal gaps, meaning making up the difference between what a home appraises for and what buyers actually offered on the home. And that often meant that they were bringing tens of thousands of dollars in additional cash to the closing table. You will very likely not have to do that in this market in the second half of 2022. So yes, your interest rate may be a little bit higher, meaning that your monthly mortgage payment is going to be higher, but you're not bringing $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in cash to the closing table. You can save that money now and use it to save maybe for that monthly mortgage payment or do some repairs, whatever makes financial sense for you. So you're in a pretty serious, advantageous position in terms of how much cash you're bringing to the closing table compared to a couple of years, the last couple of years. The third big item that I am watching in 2022 is something we're seeing a lot of right now already: price drops. Now, let's be really clear about what a price drop is. Price drops do not mean that housing values are dropping. When people hear price cuts, they think, my home value must be dropping out, because we immediately think of 2008 when there was an actual housing crash. That is not what is happening here. Please don't conflate the two. Price cuts, here's what's happening in our market. And there were 325 price cuts just a day ago in our market in the Denver metro area. What's happening is that sellers are adjusting to this new normal. Last couple of months, sellers have been able to say, well, my neighbor's home that's a lot like mine sold for this just a week ago. I'm going to list my home for slightly higher. They can't do that anymore, because the acceleration of price has reduced significantly, and buyers have more options out there, so they're not getting into these crazy bidding wars driving up these prices. The best case scenario for you, seller, is to list at market value. If your home truly is exactly the same as the last home that sold last week, list it at that price. That's going to be your market value. And there are lots of factors, and you should speak with a good realtor about what that market value is, depending on how the market is changing. changing and moving, which is frankly pretty quickly at this point. So keep that in mind when you are pricing your home. Remember, you're sitting on likely record equity. Make the most of it by pricing your home appropriately, because after 3 weeks or so, you may have to make a price cut. You've lost a lot of luster, a lot of interest from buyers, and you're going to have to try to generate that interest again by lowering the price. Buyers, I think the big takeaway for you in terms of price cuts is ask lots of questions about those homes that have had those price cuts. There's likely nothing wrong with the home. They probably just overpriced it. I'm talking about asking your realtor about what comparable sales are going for in that neighborhood. Get a sense for what the true market value is. And if the seller made a mistake of listing their home too high, it may be a good opportunity for you to go in, make an offer, and be the only offer on the table. And when you're the only offer on the table, you have some negotiating power. Again, something you haven't seen in the last couple of years. Well, that's it for me. Those are the 3 big ones that I am watching in the last half of 2022. If you got anything out of this video today, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know what you want to hear more of, and please follow me on my other social media channels, Instagram and TikTok, where we are talking about the market on a daily basis. Reach out to me there as well. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.